begin my talk with the chanting of the Shanti Mantra. Shanti Mantra is peace chants which prefix and suffix every Upanishad which is called Vedanta. We have all the gadgets in the world, all the technology that we need, all the ERPs that we can implement in education institutions, but what we awfully lack is peace in the human mind. So let us remind ourselves, this is a very well-known mantra which is chanted by the teacher and the student together at the beginning of any educational enterprise. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvina Vadhetamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. May the Supreme Being protect us both, the teacher and the disciple, by revealing to us the true nature of knowledge. May the Supreme Being protect us both, the teacher and the disciple, by revealing to us the application of that knowledge. May we both strive together for the acquisition of knowledge and wisdom. May the knowledge and wisdom that we acquire be effective and illuminative. May there be no dissension or disharmony between us. Om, peace, peace, peace. So the gap between the academia and the industry, that's the topic which has been assigned to me. This is actually the gap between theory and application. All of you know that knowledge consists of two parts. One is knowledge per se, for knowledge's sake. The other is the application of that knowledge for the welfare of humanity. The mantra which I just now chanted uses the word avatu or palayatu, protecting, twice. Sahana avatu, sahano bhunaktu. Avatu and bhunaktu, both of them mean the same thing, palayatu. The great commentator Shankaracharya interprets this very brilliantly by saying the first protection is by revealing the true nature of knowledge, and the second is by revealing the application of that knowledge for the welfare of humanity. This has been a debate which has been going on since beginning of education. Which is more fundamental, theory or practice or application? Now when we talk about technology in the present day, we mean the application of what we have studied, the knowledge which we have created, to solving problems in practice. Remember, technology can't survive without science, which is pure knowledge. These two have to go hand in hand, and unless we have a knowledge which is the backbone of technology, technology will be useless, it can stagnate. Unless we have the application of the knowledge through technology, the knowledge that we have will be ineffective. So this debate has been going on, and all of you know how the pure theoretical scientists, particularly I mean only physics, with which I am familiar, they were so confident of themselves that what they have discovered shall be true, and they didn't bother with the application at all. One famous example, which is always quoted, was the discovery of electricity by Michael Faraday. All of you know the electromagnetism, which Michael Faraday demonstrated before the then Premier of England. The story goes that Gladstone was the Prime Minister. He seems to have said, "That's okay, Mr. Faraday, but what is the practical utility of your discovery?" He was asking about electricity. At that time, the application through technology was not known. But the famous answer by Michael Faraday is well known. Michael Faraday quipped, "Sir, it is just like asking a newborn baby, what is the utility of this baby?" A newborn baby is not only not use, absolutely useless, because it's going to make you spend several lakhs over the years. What is the utility of a newborn baby? Nothing. Then Michael Faraday said, "Sir, allow it to grow." The pure theoretical people are just not interested how it is going to apply it through technology, because the applications may come much later. Think of Srinivasa Ramanujan, for example, the pure mathematician, number theorist, who was so fascinated by numbers and discovered so many theorems which did not have any application at that time. Later in computer science, we found this has profound applications. It is not the job of the theoretician to find out how the application can be done. It is the job of the application-oriented person. So when we talk about technology, we should always guard ourselves very carefully against this tendency to go overboard and say, we go technology, we should go gaga over it. This is a land, Bengal, which produced stupendous intellects in the field of theoretical science. You think of Meghna Saha, you think of Satyan Bose, even C.V. Raman, who did his experiments, did it in Calcutta. Somehow the technology is now dancing on the stage, and the great allurement of technology is there everywhere. But behind this is a deep sense of the theory, which is the fundamental thing. Albert Einstein, when he proposed the theory of special relativity in 1905 and followed it with a theory of general relativity in 1915, just didn't bother how these theories have applications and how they are going to be vindicated. The story about Einstein's general theory of relativity being proved to be correct, particularly in bending of a ray of light in very massive gravitational fields. This was proved by his contemporary scientist, Arthur Eddington, in the total solar eclipse in 1920. A telegram was received by Einstein saying, "Oh, Albie, your theory has been proved to be right." And the story is, he was sipping a lazy cup of tea and smiled and said, "I knew that it was always right." So his disciple, Elsie, she said, "Sir, what would have happened if your theory had been proved wrong?" Einstein again smiled and said, "I would be extremely sad for God, but I know that my theory is right." That is the power of theory. When we talk about technology and we are enamored of technology, there is a big warning which comes to our minds that always emphasize that behind this there is a huge theory which the students ought to know and emphasize. The present day, the students don't bother about the theory behind this. So they say everybody is going to technology and engineering. So much so, the fundamental sciences are being rather neglected. So unless we have a huge balance between these two, technology is not going to grow. Technology stagnates after some time. Breakthroughs in theoretical science don't happen very often. And it is extremely difficult to have breakthroughs in fundamental science. It requires enormous brain power to do theoretical science, and relatively easy to go to technology and engineering because you have an algorithm, you simply go through it. Why I am mentioning this is because as perhaps a discordant note in a conference where people are enamored of technology and we should go for technologically advanced. India has always had the advantage of the theoretical brain. Unless we develop this theoretical brain of India, along with the technology which is necessary and which is based on the theory, India is not going to make enormous progress. We have always had stupendous brains in theoretical sciences. Application may come much later, maybe several decades later. Even the proof of what has been discovered in theoretical sciences may come several decades, maybe a century. But the power of science can never be underestimated, and technology and science therefore have to go together. This is the thesis which I'm trying to submit to this august audience, which wants to discuss education and technology. Therefore, our institutes have been renamed, as you know, as Institutes of Science, Engineering, Science and Technology. In the beginning, we had very powerful institutes, IITs, which are Institutes of Technology, and now we no longer call them IITs, we call them IIEST. You have one in Bengal in Shibpur, as you know, the reincarnation of the Bengal Engineering and Science University into Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology shows that science, engineering and technology should go together. Unless you know the science behind something, technology alone will be a mechanical, a repetitive exercise, and those who have a technologically advanced brain may not always be creative. Creativity requires a deep thinking into how things happen. How things can be made to happen through technology is a repetitive exercise which can be learned so easily. But to go behind this and to know the basis of everything is something which is extremely important. And therefore, in our education institutions, we should emphasize science, engineering, as well as technology. So the gap in the academia and the industry comes from the feeling that the academia overmuch is academic, meaning that it is not so useful. The euphemism for saying it is not so productive or useful. The industry prides itself by saying that we are the people who deliver. We are the people who make things happen. The academic people are some people who confine themselves to solving differential equations and complicated mathematics. But we are the people who will make it happen. But both are equally necessary. And when we talk of technology and e-learning, we should always guard ourselves against the tendency to think that a human being, a human teacher can be completely or partially replaced by machines. Nobody can learn from a machine unless there is a human being behind it. If learning could take place, teaching learning could take place, research could take place completely by technology alone, institutions would be unnecessary, colleges and universities will be absolutely useless. We could save on so much resources. Why is it not that happening is because by a simple principle, life alone can kindle life. Technology cannot kindle life. You know the famous debate on artificial intelligence, which is even now raging in the advanced countries. All of you are familiar with the famous book by Roger Penrose, the first book he wrote against artificial intelligence, that is not the Emperor's New Mind, a parody on Emperor's New Clothes. He begins in the prologue with a story. A super computer has been invented and is going to be inaugurated by the President of the United States. The scientists, the bureaucrats, the technocrats, all the important people in the society are present there, and the inventor comes and says, now gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, we have omniscience before you, and I have a novel way of inaugurating the supercomputer. Anyone among the audience may put the first question to inaugurate this computer. Nobody dared to open their mouths. Who will appear stupid before a super omniscient intelligence? A small boy gets up and says, Sir, can I put the first question, sir? Come on, kid. After all, he is a kid. He is not ashamed of exhibiting his ignorance as we, educated hypocrites, can. So this boy says, can you tell me how it feels to be a computer? The gadgets go on, calculations go on, 15 minutes, half hour, and the computer says, I do not know. There's a huge peal of laughter everywhere. The computer does, technology does not know that it is doing it. A human being does, and the human being is aware that he is doing it. To do something and to be aware that one is doing something are two completely different things. The self-awareness, which is the fundamental characteristic of life and intelligence, is one important quality which marks out machines from human beings. So too much of dependence on technology has completely robbed our creativity. We can't remember anything now. You say, I don't need to remember. I have everything in the hand. What are you going to do when you become old and your brain can't remember? In the olden times, we make fun of them, rote memory. Many people say, I don't believe in just memorizing. I am very creative. What kind of creativity do you have? God has given the greatest technology, which is called the human brain, the human body. I have a pen drive, which is 8 GB. I have 32 GB. I have 108 GB. What is the GB or the TB of the human brain? How many bytes can you remember? Infinite. The human mind and the human brain has such infinite capacity to be able to remember, recover, retrieve, and act. Unfortunately, dependence of technology has made us so uncreative and dull. So this is one thing which we all should remember, even when we were very young. The musicians used to simply sing like that without too much of technological dependence. Now you can go to any music concert. Before the musician arrives, there are at least 100 people with so many kinds of gadgets and drums and technologies, and the voice of the musician is completely drowned in that. What kind of capacity do you have? Why I'm trying to say this is, we should not become slaves of technology. We should be masters of technology. We have discovered this technology. Our human brain has discovered this technology, and therefore this technology shall not make us slaves. We shall be masters of technology. We should conquer them and use them for the welfare of humanity. We were much better off when we did not have the mobile phones. Then we have the Android phone, which have all-in-one, all kinds of things you can do. What has happened? I travel to so many places. Nobody can talk to anybody. Nobody smiles with anybody. All the time, everybody is touching and moving. What kind of... And if they have spare time, they play games. This other man who is sitting there, why don't you smile at him? Why don't you be pleasing to him? Nobody has the time for it. Technology should have given us spare time. People say we should use technology so that we have plenty of time. Technology has completely taken away all our time. Nobody has any time because too much of technology is being used now. So overdose of technology at the expense of humanism is a danger which we have to seriously guard against. This being discussed in public fora, it is being discussed in educational fora, and what is happening to our children now? Our children are so much dependent on technology. If you say 2 plus 5, then they will know 2 plus 5, and then 7. 7. What complicated calculations our ancient used to do just with the human brain. And technology has given us very easy solutions. MCQ. You know MCQ? Multiple choice questions. People can't write a single sentence correctly, but multiple choice questions they can handle. A person gets 100% in English by ticking and crossing. One single decent, correct grammatical sentence he can't do. Because technology has given him such an extraordinary exposure to MCQs. The story of a small boy, a prodigy, because he got almost 100% in all the subjects. goes for the interview. The interviewers are so impressed. Oh, my dear, what a wonderful brain do you have? Your paper is excellent. What's your name, my kid? He's blinking, not saying anything. What's your name? The father says, sir, you please tell him. Your name is Mukherjee, Banerjee, Ghosh, and Chatterjee. He'll take out one. Because he is used only to multiple choice questions. He can't answer directly. This is a very vulgar way of criticizing MCQs. I'm not against anything. But what I'm saying is, before going gaga, stop for a while and think what a wonderful, technologically perfect machine that God has given you. If you don't believe God, then you can replace it by nature. If you can't believe in nature, of course, you can't survive. So simply control R, God is equal to nature. Such a wonderful human body is given to you. And technology, people who are technologically savvy, they don't get up from their desks, they can't walk. They're constantly glued all the time, and all the diseases in the world they bring upon themselves. They don't take care of the greatest technological marvel that God has given us, the human body, and cultivate the human brain. So all the emotions are gone, all the music is gone, and play is gone, smile is gone, and we create artificial smiles in the motifs. If you want to smile, put that, and then it will smile like that. So we should guard against too much of technology, and in education particularly, the school education, I am fully against too much of technological intervention. Let them grow, let them observe, let them see the birds are chirping there, let them see how the ants are moving. If you see the ants are moving there, what kind of marvel it is. Observe nature. And the child doesn't have anything, and he observes nature through the computer. Nature is there for you to see. So in the beginning, education should be oriented towards creativity, for which technology, science, engineering, humanities, arts, music, play, all of them should be an integrated approach. So I end with Swami Vivekananda, what he said. He said it is not the amount of information that you gain and then runs right there in your brain all the time. If accumulation of information is equal to education, he said our encyclopedias will be rishis. If he had been here now, he will say the greatest rishi in the world, do you know his name? It's called Rishi Google. At the click of a mouse, he can give you all information. So what does Google do? So you can use Google for your purpose, but the human brain itself has to be empowered and created, and the awakening of the intrinsic intelligence which is there in the human heart, which is called the Dhi, which is being awakened by the Gayatri Mantra, Dhiyo yo naf prachodayat. That kind of education if you bring out, then technology will just come like that, will be your slave. So on a different note, I ended this. This is for you to seriously think about. Thanks for calling me. I'm sorry I have to rush now to Gold Park for a class. So thank you heartily for listening to me. Thank you.